Cyberpunk Uncensored.
Hey, what's up everybody? This Cyberpunk Red crash course tutorial is all about the different wound states and how you heal from them. Before I get into that, let me just say, if you're not familiar with how you take damage and what hit points are and all that sort of stuff, check out my Ultimate Combat crash course. It's going to break down all the different ways that you take damage and you engage in combat and all that stuff. Check that out before you check this out. That'll give you a better foundation of how combat works and all the little details about that. But moving forward, basically in Cyberpunk Red, as you take damage, your hit points are reduced. And you basically cross over different wound state thresholds, sometimes getting to the point where those wounds even start to impair your performance. So let's get into exactly how that works and how you heal from those different states and the details about all that. Basically, Red has a chart in the book, and it looks like this. And when you start off, you have your total hit points. Let's say you have like 40 hit points, right? You're good to go. You can do everything normally. As you start to take damage, you're basically considered lightly wounded, in which case there's no wound effects. And to stabilize and start healing from that, it's going to be a DV10. And let me explain what stabilizing is and how you heal before I move forward, so you understand, so you get an idea of the parts of the charts here. Everyone can stabilize using first aid or paramedic. Everybody has at least a +2 in first aid. It's kind of a staple of Night City or characters in Cyberpunk. Everybody has that. You can also get paramedic though and use that to stabilize. That has a different cost value. It takes 2 times the IP to raise that up. And to learn about IP, check out my crash course on IP and improvement points and how you increase your skills and all that. And I also have a whole tutorial on skills, so you can learn about how some cost 2 times the amount of IP. But paramedics is like that comparatively to first aid. The benefits of paramedics, though, having that skill, is it doesn't just stabilize, it can also be used to help you with certain critical injuries. And I'm not going to go into all the different critical injuries in this video. I'm doing check out the crash course tutorial about critical injuries. It's a completely, it has its own charts. There's a lot to it, so I didn't want to crunch that into this video. This one, I just wanted to go over the wound states. But anyways, if you take any damage to your hit points, going down up to half, you don't want to cross half because then you're getting into seriously wounded. But if you're just considered lightly wounded, you just have to beat a DV10 with first aid or paramedic skill, sorry. And how you do that, that's your tech stat plus first aid or paramedic plus 1d10, and you got to beat that DV10. And once you do, you're considered stabilized and you can start healing. How do you heal? You basically have to just relax, lay low, and do like nothing, just no heavy lifting or hard work or anything for a solid day. And each day that you do that, you will get your HP or your body stat back to your HP. So whatever your body stat is, you get that total in HP restored to your HP or whatever each day that you just kind of chill and relax and just lay low. So that's how you heal. Like I said, that DV is a 10. Now, if you do cross over, like if your hit points are 40, like I said, and you take more than 20 damage, you've crossed over that halfway point, you're considered seriously wounded. In which case, now you are starting to get some wound effects. You have a -2 to all actions. So anything you do, any skill checks, attacks, anything you do, you have a -2 to all your actions. So it's starting to take effect. And the stabilization DV now has increased. Now it's a DV13. So now it's your tech plus your first aid or paramedic plus 1d10. It has to beat a DV13. And then once you do that, you're stabilized. You can start healing. And again, got to lay low, relax, full day. You get your body stat back to your HP. Now, it's gonna get a little crazy now. Stick with me. If you take enough damage that you're getting all the way down to less than 1 HP, you're considered mortally wounded. You're pretty much like knocking on death's door. So once you cross over, once you pass that 1 HP point, and you're pretty much, I don't know, you're really messed up. You're going to get a lot of, you've taken a lot of damage ultimately. You're going to get some serious wound effects. Now, those wound effects are, you get a -4 to all actions. So now it went from -2 to a -4. And let me just say, as these wound effects change as you cross thresholds, these wound effects replace the previous ones. So they don't stack. But you go from a -2 to all actions to a -4 to all actions when you're mortally wounded. Plus, you're also going to take a -6 to your move with a minimum of 1. So you're really slow. You can barely move around. You're getting a -4 to anything you try to do. I mean, it's understandable. I mean, it's like you're wounded to the point that you can barely function. Like I said, you're knocking on death's door. You're doing everything you can to survive. And here's how you're surviving. You're basically doing a death save at the beginning of your turn every round. So every round you have to roll, once you're in that mortally wounded state, every round at the beginning of your turn, you have to roll a 1d10, and it has to be less than your body stat to be considered alive, and then continue on with your normal turn, right? With all those wound effects. Don't forget the wound effects. If you roll above that, you're pretty much dead. A 10 is automatically dead, obviously, but that's it. You have to roll a new character. There's no coming back from that. That's how serious it is. So once you pass that, you're not instantly dead, at least. You're down to 0 HP, or you pass 1. You took enough damage that you passed 1. You're at 0 or negative, whatever, At least you're not dead instantly. At least you have a chance. You have a fighting chance there. You're taking on all these wound effects. So you're not functioning normally, by any means. But at least you have a chance. You could do these death saves and try to at least, keep going. You're not instantly dead. The thing to keep in mind there now is once you're in that state, anytime that you take damage from melee or ranged attacks, you have to make a critical. You're basically taking a critical injury, in which case you're rolling on the critical injury table, either head or body. And like I said, I'm completely different crash course tutorial on critical injuries. Check that out to better understand how that works and what all the different ones are and what they do. But anyways, when you're mortally wounded, to stabilize yourself, it's a DV15 to heal back to 1 HP. And it's not like the other stabilizations where you just come back and then you can start spending days relaxing to heal. When you come back, you basically are spending your first minute unconscious. You're basically unconscious, gone from the world for a minute. So when you come back, you're basically relying on your teammates to drag you around, take care of you, or you're just, I don't know, whatever. But you're basically unconscious for a solid minute. But at least you're back. You're back to 1 HP. But you got to be careful, because at that point, you can still take damage. You can, be pushed right back over the line and be doing death saves again. I mean, it's that dangerous. It's that serious. So that's basically it. Just remember that, there's different DVs that have to be beat based on the wound state that you're in. There's different wound effects based on the state that you're in. And to beat that DV, to stabilize yourself and beat those DVs, it's basically your tech stat plus first aid or paramedic plus 1d10. And then after you stabilize, that's the beginning of it. Then you have to, like I said, relax and just not do anything serious for a solid day, a solid 24 hours basically, to get your body stat back to your HP. So like if you've taken enough damage that you're all the way down to whatever, like 15 from 40 or whatever, 45 or whatever your HP is, and your body stat is only 8 or 5 or 6, whatever it is, it's going to take you that many days to get that body stat back of just relaxing to get all the way back up to 40 or 45 or whatever it is. So you see how serious it is. The more damaged you are, obviously the longer it's going to take to heal. But there you have it. Oh, and I just want to reiterate this because it is important. Don't forget, when you're mortally wounded and you take any damage from melee or ranged, you're automatically taking a critical injury. So it's, don't forget that. That's really serious, and that can really just compound your problems, But that's Cyberpunk. That's how it is. It's dangerous, and you should already know that. And you should love it. You should enjoy it. That's why you love Cyberpunk. But anyways, hopefully this video was helpful and it helped you better understand the different wound states and how you heal and all that good stuff. If it was, please give the video a like, Give it a share. I'd really appreciate that. Also, check out all the links in the description. I've got Patreon open with a lot of exclusive and cool things there. And I've also opened up memberships on YouTube so you can get behind the scenes stuff, live AMA sessions, and all kinds of other exclusive stuff. And all the other videos, everything I upload, you'll get in advance. So check all that out. Show me some love. I'd really appreciate it. All right. Thanks so much. Take care.